Hi and welcome to another episode, and what we've got here is everything I got for Christmas, pretty much. Let's start off with not the lower end, but the stocking fillers maybe. What I got here is some gaming socks. Let's open them up, see what they actually say. They say gaming in progress on the side, and then across the bottom it says, I'm gaming. Let's find little metal bits out of the way. Yep, it says I'm gaming on the bottom, and this is obviously for non-slip. There we go. So I guess I'll be wearing them when I'm in the living room playing on the Xbox. And then, which by the way, I got them from my wife. Pretty much most of these presents I got from my wife. I'll state otherwise if I didn't. What we have here is a long sleeve t-shirt, and it says always in control. Now I do recognise a lot of the gamepads on here. You tell me which ones you recognise in the comments down below. Another one to be showing for there. And then on to some books. Retro Gaming, a bite-sized history of video games by Mike Diver. I've not actually read this one or anything. Well, I've only had it for a few days, because for those that have followed the last episode, was that my wife and I don't actually get to celebrate Christmas until the new year because of the way that her work is. She tends to work on Christmas Day itself. So we delay it so we can enjoy it in a nice relaxing way, which is the way that it's supposed to be done. So yeah, there's lots of interesting stuff in here for many different systems by the looks of it. And then we've got the official Specky Nation quiz book by Dan Whitehead. So Specky being the Spectrum, if you don't know that, I'm sure you recognise it anyway for most people here in the UK and Europe, but some Americans might not know. But if you're into retro computers, you've probably heard it at some point. So there's some questions there. I'll not show all of them, because obviously we want Dan to be getting his money, whoever he is. And then we've got the Fusion Kickstarter, which she's been backing for me for quite a few years now. And she picked up the Japan special, which is just the Fusion magazine, but it's all about the Japanese type stuff, which I have to say I know very little about, so that'd be interesting to read through. And then for Fusion, the one thing I do know is that they've moved across to A5 annuals, which is, I understand there's been shortages and things and pricing and things like that, but when you've been collecting the A4 ones for the past few years, suddenly shrinking down to A5, it's a bit of a shock. But luckily it seems that at Fusion, enough people said, please make the A4 version. So they have done, but not the Fusion one, because obviously that's in A5 anyway. But that's the annual for this coming year. And then these A4 versions are actually the A5 version blown up. So the writing is a bit on the big side, which is pretty good for me, because I think I might have to go get some glasses this year. Age is finally kicking in. But I know I've jumped backwards and forwards, but there's a few things so you get to read. So the Fusion Annual in general is sort of sometimes it seems to be like a cover of the back stuff, as it says across the top: retro, current gen, indie, tabletop and toys. That's what the Fusion magazine does. So if you want a modern retro slash retro sort of magazine, Fusion's one to be reading if you haven't already been doing that for the past couple of years. Zap64 started up again. This is the annual version, obviously for the Commodore 64. And as I've already had a quick look in there, stuff about that. And since I never grew up with a 64 or the 128, I still don't know an awful lot about which are the best games to play and everything like that. So any ideas, stick them in the comments below. And then Crash, which is the one that I used to collect when I was a kid. And obviously, same sort of stuff, but for the Spectrum. So I do enjoy reading through these. I'll get on with doing that at some point. So that's a fair few books to get me going over the coming weeks, months, maybe even years, because I sometimes forget I've actually got a book and forget to read it. But let's move on to the next things. And then we've got the Atari 2600 Tiny Arcade. Now, I want to point out something with the boxing of this, because I do find it funny. 9 Atari games plus bonus game, Pac-Man. But then it says, includes 10 games. And it really wants to point out that the 2600 Atari console with 10 pre-programmed games. Well, is it 9 with a bonus, or is it... Oh, I know it's semantics, but I do find it funny that they haven't particularly just picked how many it does. Now, I would love to open this, but I've got a feeling it's going to be a bit fiddly. So, well, an awful lot of the episodes that I'm going to be doing in future are going to be me unboxing the presents that I've got. So come back in the future for ones that I'm doing. So, as much as I want to get this open and have a look, I'm going to have to wait. And then we've got Christmas Lemmings for the Amiga, a 1993 version. Something I've really been wanting for a long time. For this set of the Christmas Lemming big boxes that I'm sort of going for. This might be the last one, I'm not too sure, but it's something I have wanted for a long time, and my wife knows that, and finally got it. So, and I know that there was magazine cover versions of this. I'm not too sure if they gave away the full version, or it was just a few levels from this, because I've not got the demo disc. But yeah, really wanting this. So since it's just a big box, let's open this one, actually get it open. There's not a lot to look at on the back apart from it is Lemmings do lots of silly things, but with a snow theme this time, or a Christmassy theme, because they've got the Santa hats on. The box, so we've got the manual, and the manual is pretty much just how to play Lemmings like it used to be, in lots of different languages, all the way up until page 28. And then we've got the questionnaire card. I don't think they're going to answer. The disc itself. And then this is the funny thing that I think is in here. We've got, come on, focus. W.H. Smith's. It's one of the major businesses in the UK for doing books and magazines and things. It was a very popular thing to do when you were going into school or heading back from school. Pop into W.H. Smith's and have a glance through the computer magazines and figure out which one you wanted to buy that month. Very common thing to do. But anyway, it says W.H. Smith's 5032. I'm going to assume that 5032 is a code for that particular store. If anyone knows off of any of the numbers off of here, it'd be interesting to know where whoever purchased this originally purchased it, because obviously my wife has picked this up secondhand, probably from eBay, which is fine. But anyway, Amiga budget $14.99, total $14.99. Tendered £10, and then a bit of a gap, and then another tendered £5, and then change of 1 pence. Purchased on the 30th of the 12th, 1993, so that's 29 years ago. That's, well, yeah, you would count it that way, yeah, but the point is that's a long time ago. But I do wonder about the 2 bits of tendering. I wonder if it was like it was £10 discount, or was it £5 discount, or someone have a gift card. I mean, I can't think of anyone handing over a W.H. Smith's gift card these days, but back then it'd have been quite a common thing to get. If it was a thing, I'm not too sure. I never received one. But anyway, I just find it strange that it's not £15 in total. Maybe it was £10 note and then the rest in change, and it took a while for the young kid to, splurge all the extra change that they got from pocket monies and change put into the Christmas cards over the Christmas time. But either way, it might have been $14.99 and it might have been a bit cheaper. but who knows. Nearly 30 years ago this was purchased. Maybe a bit boring to some, but it gives this particular version a bit of history. It's interesting to find receipts inside of old games. One, because it puts a date on it, and one, you can figure out, you know, was it middle of the year? Did they buy it just for the fun of it? Did they buy it because it was their birthday? Was it a Christmas money one, or was it a Christmas gift? This was obviously purchased just after Christmas, so this is probably someone buying it with their Christmas money, and since it's Christmassy, why not? Anyway, let's move on to the next bit. Well, this next one, my wife did have a little bit of help of picking out for me. It sure adds up pretty quickly. Might be a clue for some people. Basically, a USB adapter from SATA to 3.1 USB, and then a VGA cable, a SCART cable, a 1 terabyte 1 terabyte SSD drive. Well, can we balance all them all over there? USB to internal USB. It's on the back of a bracket, because actually it's cheaper to buy it that way than it is to buy them individually. And the next thing you'll understand that it's possible to use 2 of these, and this is actually the cheaper way to buy it off of eBay. Brand new, by the way, as you can see. Where should we balance that bit? Don't want to give my address away. Some snack USB devices, SNES, Sega and Atari. Let me just make sure my address doesn't instantly pop up by itself. Let me balance that on there. There we go. A white box which has a power supply unit in it with the kettle cable needed, which is fair enough. I have plenty of them kicking around the house. A bit of a side thing, some rubber feet, some proper ones. Side thing here, a disc cleaner. I'll help you in disc cleaning. Some will have already guessed what all that stuff there is for, but here's my original mister with the power supply unit dangling out of it and dongles and everything sticking out the back or the front, depending on which you class as the front and the back and everything like that. But mine's particularly pimped out in the realms of everything. Mine was pimped out a lot sooner than other people's. But this has been fun over the years of having. My missus bought me all this a few Christmases back now. Things have updated great with the Mister, but that's what that is for. But I'm sure people are going, I know what he's got. Well, here's the original, not original, the case that I've got. So it's a black case, 3D printed. The 3D printing is a bit off in colour. The top one's more of a grey black than that being a black, and that's a black. But then the front seems to match up quite nicely. So it's all very, it might just be the way that a different machine printed it, or a different type of plastic, or a different spool of plastic. Anyway, the back part, I've got the SCART ready version, because as you can see I wanted the SSD ready case, but I also want SCART sticking out the back, because there's some things that even through HDMI will not be done properly because of the way that things work. I know that because I have a Spectrum Next, and that's part of the problem on there, because some of the fancy coding that can be done only shows through the SCART, not through HDMI. So I'm assuming it's the same with the core on here. Not that I've used a Spectrum Next core, because why would I when I've got a Spectrum Next, but I would have kind of assumed that's a thing for other versions. But anyway, that's for when I make a big old video about this. But then of course, as I say, it's been designed by Neil RMC and his colleagues over at, well, basically his landlord, and making this. So sliding that out from there, the multi-system, and this does all that stack stuff you've just seen inside that red case, and a more console-like way of doing it. So we end up with this, which I'm not going to talk about everything right now because I want to make a video on it, but there's HDMI pass-through which used to be in there but which already plugged in there, so it wasn't bouncing around inside the case. There's cables and things. I'm not going to unbox it completely right now because I want to be careful with it, and besides, otherwise it's going to make this video particularly long, and I'm going to make a proper video on this anyway, so look forward to that in the future, especially if I put things back in the box the correct way. But let's move on to the next thing. The next two are a little bit on the invisible side because they're somewhere else right now. The ZX81 is off living its life on a shelf somewhere else right now. But the Sinclair ZX81, which my wife bought me earlier in the year, so that I could fix it up and make sure it was ready for Christmas. If you haven't seen that one, click the video there. And in the description I'll put it as well, just in case you don't see that, because if you're watching this on your TV, you don't get a clicky box up there, do you? Come on, YouTube. And then the other thing is the Yamaha Mu 2000EX. Now that's been stood in the MIDI Tower of Power, or whatever you want to call it these days. It's in that list. I just haven't used it. And then I've got this one, which I've promised I'm not going to talk about until this coming episode's video. Right, and then we have a ridiculously big box in the realms of, that's the top, can't quite fit in frame, but if I roll it onto its side, it's that big. Now, let's see if anyone realises what this is. This is from my wife as well. Dun, dun, dun. This is how it came in the box. This was supposed to be my birthday present, but it didn't get released in time, and there we go. Monkey Island Anthology. So it's from Limited Runs, a little club full of news. It looked like it was going to arrive in time for Christmas, and it didn't arrive in time for Christmas, but then it arrived after Christmas, but before when me and my wife celebrate Christmas, because as I say, it's delayed because of her job. But let's take this out of here now. I really want to open up the box and do an unboxing, but this is an unboxing all in itself, let's be honest, isn't it? So I'm actually not going to open this right now because it's going to be a lot of effort and it's the wrong time to do it. So again, look forward to an unboxing of this one. I bet you can hear me getting more and more out of breath, mainly because I'm having to go up and down the stairs to my front room to get all these different boxes out, because currently there's just no room to put all this into the little retro box room. So thankfully there will be when everything's out of its box, but while it's in its box, oh dear, no. Right, so some of you will know I already have one of these. I'm actually talking to you on one of these right now because I bought it second hand and bought the boom arm and everything like that. Bit of an upgrade from the microphones that I had before. But my wife had decided that basically the other microphone that I have, which I'm pointing across that direction, which is what I use when I'm sat in front of the computer and showing you different things of click here, click there. That's still the old microphone. And it would be better if both microphones were the same. So a little quick unboxing of this. So there we go. So as you can see already anyway, it's the X1S vocal pack. They do one where you just get the mic, and you get one of where you don't get the shock mount. And then obviously they do this one. And then they do one of where you get this big sponge thing to sit around the back of the microphone to help stop, well, external sounds. So we've got an SE sticker, and we've got their little manual, different languages, all the way page up until page 20, the class is the back one. Don't forget to register it, so I better not forget to do that. But with inside the sponge, you end up with the microphone, another SE sticker, the shock mount. Let's have a quick look at the shock mount. I apologise for the rustling. There we go, shock mount. An XLR cable. I think it's about 2 meters long. Oh, the bag for the microphone, they expect you to cut it open. Some candy, and like they always put in. Don't eat it, kids, don't eat it. Right, so this is what I'm currently speaking to you on anyway. But this is the X1S, and it sounds as good as it does. I currently have the switch all the way across that way, and I think I have it that it's actually minus 20 dB as well. But it's a really nice microphone. But I'll do a proper unboxing of this and try to learn some interesting things about microphones. I used to know some stuff, but then I've forgotten, and you know, these things move on as you grow older. There's things that you learnt and did, and then you forget, and then you think, why did I forget? Oh yes, I'm old. There we go. Right. So the shock mounts and an extra hairband. Only joking, that's obviously at the side there. I have far too little hair in the need of a hairband. Let's put that back in there, hopefully the correct way around without ruining all the sponge. Rah. I believe it was that way. Or is it that way? Oh, it's that way, there we go. Right, so let's put all this back in. And obviously this bit here for making your waffles. Either that, it's for pef and your pef and your pefs when you're speaking to help block that, which is a good thing. And then the shock mount, not shock mount, sorry, the boom arm. Dear me. Oh, could do with some scissors. Sneaky. Click, 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 click. All right, and then just a standard boom arm. But it's a bit of the nicer ones that you can get, a bit more expensive. But it's the ones without all the springs directly bouncing around on them, because one, they don't take the weight of this new microphone, and the other ones, they can be kind of annoying with the springs. When you're trying to move them around, you can't sort of move them around in real time, because then you'll hear the vibration of the spring through the arm. I'm pointing around, you can't see, through the arm. And the other ones, I may well show you the type that I mean, but it's a lovely upgrade to have. There's no real need to give you a full unboxing of that, because it is just stuff, but it's the Indogear MS038, and not for the budget. I'm not really knocking the really cheap ones, but they can't take much of a weight of a microphone anyway, and as I say, they sometimes put a vibration of the spring down the arm. But if you're going to put them in place and don't move them, perfectly fine, if they can take the weight of the cheaper microphones. And again, I'm not knocking the cheaper microphones. Everyone's got to start somewhere. It's exactly what I've done. I mean, some will probably be shouting at it and go, complete waste of time, your channel's rubbish, move on. But that's what I'm using, because it's nicer to be able to have slightly nicer microphones. But yeah, I'm looking forward to setting that up, but I'll do a proper unboxing in the realms of it all stood up, and then show you what it looks like when it's set up, mainly when I clear this room out yet again, because it's time to do a spring cleaning here. Okay, so I'm reaching over the top of the next item really, but it needed one of these, a 5 meter HDMI 2.1, proper 2.1 HDMI cable for the following thing. Dear me, I'm so out of breath. I just went up and down the stairs. Right, can we see what this is? It's not going to fit in frame. I'm going to try not hitting the microphone and everything. But it's a 28 inch / 71 centimeters UHD LED mercury free Acer gaming monitor, which is an IPS panel. Which number was this? I forgot which number this was. Can we show this? Oh, this is heavy. Oh, there we go. Dun dun dun. Move it around slowly so we can see everything. Is it going to get in frame? I have to do it at a funny angle. Sorry, everybody. Right, so 28 inch UHD 4K IPS Radeon FreeSync, which is also pretty much NVIDIA G-Sync as well. HDR10. What's it saying here? 0 frame, and then some other fun stuff. Basically, it's got like a 1 millisecond boost mode, because basically IPS screens can pretty much only do 4 milliseconds. At least at this level, it's 60 Hertz, not 120. The HDR, it's pretty much that 400 number, which really you need to be getting up to 600, if not above, before it's proper HDR. But that's not the point. I want to be using this as a content thing, because the video camera, you wouldn't believe it, but after all these years, it is actually a 4K camera. But not having a 4K screen, I've not been able to edit in 4K. So since the camera doesn't do HDR, it just does 4K stuff. Actually, it's a 50 Hertz in the realm of PAL, and the makers of the camera are kind of annoying and don't allow you to pick and choose. But for whatever reason, some European stupid law once upon a time, or it's just them being money grabbing. But the point is that it only does 50 Hertz, but I'm recording directly through an Elgato camera capture dongle-y thingy, which means I can record in 60 Hertz. So start expecting some 4K fun with the channel. I mean, I've no idea if it's going to bring anything to the channel, but it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and my wonderful wife has known that, so I've ended up with one of these. So for me though, I've already got, what is it, an Acer Xb27h0, which is a 1080p 144 Hertz blah 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 gaming monitor, and I've also got an Asus what's the funny number, some funny number anyway, which is a 1080 60 Hertz one, which I have off to the side. If you go have a quick look at my tour, you'll see, where's the thing, a quick tour, I'll put a link in the description. You'll see all the different monitors I have, and basically what I'm wanting to do is, here I have a monitor in front of me here, which is more of a TV than a monitor, small LCD thingy, which has SCART and component and composite and all that fun stuff in the back of it. It's why I bought it. But above it, I've got an NEC Multisync LCD 1970NX, which I actually use for my Atari ST, which I used to use for my Atari ST, but then I bought the funny dongle in the back of that, and I've got the OSSC hiding there. So I don't actually need that screen anymore. So with a bit of juggling around, I'm going to move monitors around so that I've actually got the smaller monitor that I've got off to the left over here. A lot of finger pointing, which you can't see, I know, but go have a look at the tool, it'll make sense. I'm going to move that one up here, up there. So if I do go back to streaming again, which I sort of want to do, I might do it here or other places you can do it. It means I'm going to be able to see the chat at the same time. So that's a nice knock-on effect from getting this monitor. And I know you probably got, do an unboxing. It's too much to do an unboxing right now for this. But I'll put a link in the description for you to go do some research on it. Basically, my wife ended up getting one hell of a discount on it, and that's why I've ended up getting it, because otherwise I wouldn't have got it. But it's sort of, if I don't buy it now with this fantastic discount, I'm never going to get one, sort of thing. At least not for another year or so. So as I say, hopefully that's going to bring some 4K. Sorry for all the waffling. I'm getting out of breath going up and down the stairs. I believe there's one more thing to be chatting about, and then that's it. So thank you for sticking with me this far, but there will just one more thing. Let's stop this. Okay, just one more thing, just to give you a hint. Can you see that in the wonderful glow? Reflections and everything. There we go. Retro Tink. And it needs one of those. It came with one of those. One of them, which is composite or S-Video to SCART. It needs one of them, micro USB to USB. It's got the manual, but comes one of these. And then, dun dun dun, it's a RetroTink 5X Pro. And there we go, just to prove it. A little manual on the back that explains everything. So, this is another converter, a bit like the OSSC, but it does things a little bit differently in the realms of you can do S-Video and composite directly into it, or composite, depending on where in the world you are. Little sticker on the bottom that says it's a 5X Pro as well. So, this is going to be fun because I have a few things that have not been putting on or streaming or whatever like that, because I got rid of my FrameMeister earlier in the year. Because as good as the FrameMeister is, it's not so good with, well, like the Saturn. It works, but it's annoying when it changes screen modes. So anyway, I got rid of that, plus I wanted a bit of money at the time. But my wife has got me one of these. I'm really, really appreciative to my wife because she spoilt me rotten yet again. I really don't deserve all of this. I know that, you know that. She doesn't seem to, so don't tell her. But the rest of it as well, the present that I got from my friends, which we're talking about in another video. I'll be doing more unboxings of different things. I'll be showing this in use. There was a firmware, because I've still actually not plugged it in to check it works. I know that a new firmware has been released on it, which has sadly currently removed the side-in light gun compatibility with it. So I might just leave it where it is at the moment, but I might upgrade. We'll have a look at that at a different time as well, because obviously I'm going to start using it. I've got the OSSC, so I've got the best of both worlds. On top of that, thank you for pushing me up to 1,000 subs. Like everything I said in the last video, thank you very much of supporting this channel the way that you are. By all means, add more. Be great too, because at some point I'm sure I'm going to end up seeing the bills for all these wonderful presents my wife has got me. But yeah, let's have a great year this year. In the meantime, click down below and do the subscription, the Patreon, the Discord links. Definitely come over to the Discord links and start chatting. Click that like button. So, Happy New Year 2022. And as always, happy gaming.